Welcome back to the Road to National series. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through an upper max workout. So my max variation for this week was a banded board press. So I've never done a board press with this much band tension before. I knew I wanted to hit around 100 to 110 kilos, and there I hit 110 of bar weight, and that's because I'd hit 115 kilos with 10 kilos less band tension. But I was feeling strong and a bit impetuous, so I decided to actually go for 115 kilos to match my PR with less band tension. Which I only set a few months ago as well. And it was an absolute grind, as you can see there, but I did manage to hit it. I think I hit like my exact 1 rep max, and with loads of band tension in particular, it is so hard to grind because those bands are firing the weight down. It's not like grinding against like a heavier weight, but with no band tension. It is way harder. It felt like the weight wasn't moving at all and that I was pushing for like half an hour, but I was really happy to get that up. It marks a massive improvement in my strength, particularly recently, even in the last few months, and I want to do way more heavy presses like that. So board presses, getting used to much heavier weights, which I think is going to transfer over back to my bench press. I was doing a lot of lighter variations like camber bar presses, which are great, but when you then get round to doing a bench press max, you haven't pressed any weight anywhere near as heavy, versus if you do heavier variations, you come in and your normal bench press is lighter. So that's the logic there. Then the first accessory here, which I've just done, is 2 sets at overhead Swiss bar tricep extensions. So I changed my grip on those to the parallel grip, which was a bit narrow, which I was way weaker at, and I went way deeper on. So I was expecting to be able to get like sets of 10 on them, no problem, which I normally would when I use like the slightly wider diagonal grip. However, I decided to do the narrower parallel grip because it allowed me to go deeper, and it definitely felt effective for the triceps. But as you can see, I failed both sets. I think the first set after 7 proper reps and the second set after 6. So it felt really good on the triceps. The triceps felt like so sore almost straight away doing it. So I think it is really effective for building the triceps up, and I think I'll favor that variation over the sort of diagonal grip, which I normally do and I normally push more weight on. That actually felt really good. So yeah, I was still happy with those, just obviously much weaker, and I think that's because it's isolating the triceps better and putting it through a greater range of motion. Then I had slightly pronated mag grip lat pull downs just there. I think I got a set of 12 and a set of 10, to be honest. The second set, I completely forgot I'd got a set of 12 on the first set. I thought I was only needing to get a set of 10. So that's what I did there. I went at 200 pounds, which is a sort of moderate weight for me. It is the 3rd week in my 3-week wave, so it's the heaviest week for dynamics, but I go a little lighter on accessories in general because I'm less fresh. Next week will be a deload, and then the week after that's when I'll push the weight with heavier accessories again. Having said that, this next accessory here was incline dumbbell press. So last week I did a 30-degree incline with 45 kilo dumbbells and managed to get sets of 8 to 10, somewhere around there. So this week I dropped the incline to 15 degree and was hoping to press these 50 kilo dumbbells for at least sets of sort of 8, 10, but I was just way weaker. I think from that massive grind on the bench press, to be honest, like the nervous system fatigue seemed to hit me like straight away, and I was tired in general throughout the rest of the session. That's why I underperformed compared to what I thought I would on both the tricep extensions. Then on the lat pull downs as well, I should have at least got 2 sets of 12, and that second set I was done by the set of 10. And then there, the most prominent one was those dumbbell presses, because of course the dumbbell press is the most similar to that heavy board press that I did. It's a pressing action again, and that I massively underperformed on. I thought I should at least hit sort of sets of 10 there. So it's not really an issue. The point of the accessories is to target individual muscle groups and try and bring their individual size and strength up. But if I've hit like a massive PR on a max effort, it is also the 3rd week, like I was saying, in my 3-week wave. This week is where I carry the most fatigue. This workout was challenging to get through, it's fine if the reps and stuff are a little lower. It's not a reason to panic. So the next accessory here was rear delt flies. I haven't done these in ages. I usually prefer doing some sort of lateral raise or loo raise variation, but I am wanting to start develop the rear delts more as well. I find it really useful as like a shelf to put the bar on when you're squatting, which makes it more comfortable but also more stable. And also when you're benching off your rear delts, you want them planted into the bench as well. It just helps add stability for both of those. So that's why I was doing them. They move pretty easily, 2 sets of 12. Because I don't do them frequently, I don't have like real PRs that I have to hit. That was probably the best I've ever done at 10 kilos on those rear delt flies, but obviously that's just because I don't do them frequently. So moving on to the next accessory here, it was preacher curls, dumbbell preacher curls, single armed, using the bench as a preacher pad, and I got 25 kilos for 2 sets of 10 per arm. So this is by far the best I've been able to do. When I started this series back in January, I started to train my biceps again. I hadn't trained them in so long because they're not directly needed in powerlifting, but it is literally just one accessory per upper day for 2 sets. Honestly, I can easily fit that in. It's not affecting recovery and they haven't caused issue, and it's always good to just develop strength and size across the physique in general. I mean, there's tiny bits of like compression that the biceps and the forearms get on each other at the bottom of a bench press, but to be honest, they're not essential for like bench pressing or anything else, and you definitely don't want to like curl or get your biceps involved in like a deadlift, for example. People do that often because they're thinking of getting the weight up, so they try and bend their arms to move the weight more upwards, and then that leads to like bicep tears, and I'm sure you'll have seen horror videos out there. So you don't want to use your biceps, but I still like to train them, and this was a big PR back at the beginning of the series. As I was saying, I literally couldn't move this weight. I think I was preacher curling like the 15 kilo dumbbell, and the 20 kilo dumbbell felt a bit heavier. You can go back and watch and see whatever I did. I can't exactly remember, but then there was a time I managed to get like a set of 4 on these 25 kilo dumbbells, and then more recently sets of sort of 6 to 8, but here I got 2 sets of 10 on each arm. Now the last rep was very challenging, and I have spoken about like if I fully extend my arm, I try and always break parallel to the floor with my forearm. However, if I went like all the way down till the arm's straight, I literally couldn't get it up for literally like 2 reps. It completely kills all of your power. Having to try and contract the bicep once the arm has been fully extended is like almost impossible. So that's why I'm not going all the way to depth, but it still makes it challenging. And that's why on the first set on the right hand side, the 8th rep was like really challenging, but then I easily hit the 9th rep. If you were wondering why that was and you caught that, that is because I extended a bit too far on the 8th rep, so it was so hard to try and get it back up, and then the 9th rep I went to normal depth, and that's why it was much easier. And then all of the last reps were grinders. That's why I was doing sets of 10. It massively pumped up the biceps as well, and it actually felt really good because I've been going a bit heavier and only doing like sets of 6 to 8 recently with biceps, so it was nice to get back up to sets of 10. Then the final accessory here is GHD sit-ups. However, I did actually try and do ab wheels. I have spoken the last few times I've done ab wheels in videos. It feels like my abs are getting really strained, particularly at the bottom of my abs, like around the base of my rectus abdominis, so the bottom of your 6-pack, going into like the transverse abdominis, which is underneath that, towards like your pubis, down at the base of your abs. That's just feeling strained every time I try and do ab wheels. It feels terrible, so I had to like quit after only like 6 or 7 reps, which is really frustrating when you're strong enough to do more, but it felt completely wrong. It's not like pushing a muscle. Normally like these 2 sets of 10 on this felt difficult, and I'm actually getting a huge stretch on the abs as well here, which was great, but they didn't feel like they were like injuring or tearing the abs, which the ab wheel did. So I think I'll just have to rotate that out for a while until my abs like get stronger, or if I have strained my base abs, just allow that to heal a bit. I don't know. Anyway, that is it for today's video. I hope you did in fact enjoy the video. If you did, drop it a like, drop it a comment, subscribe, click the bell, all of that good stuff, and I hope you have a great day.